Hey guys, and welcome to the new YouTube tutorial. So today I will show you how to create this guy. So we will be animating this character. He's super cute and I'm super excited. So let's get started. The first thing would be to import the Illustrator file. I am just going to quickly do that now because I will directly show you guys how to animate this character after you upload it to After Effects. And when you upload it to After Effects, this is what you should see. The first thing that I'm noticing is that this character is not at the center of the composition. So let's change that. I'm gonna find the background. Here it is. I'm gonna lock it. And I am just going to select everything. And I would like to just move him. And as you can see, I don't see my rulers here. So I am not sure if this is the center. I have a good eye for these things, but let's just make sure this is at the center. The way you do that, if you don't see these rulers here, you just click on this icon and you can choose from a bunch of different options. For now, I'm just gonna click on the title action save. As you can see now, this is the center of my composition, and I think, I think this is fine. Great. Now, all these layers, as you can see here, they are not named properly. So here we have layer 15, layer 4, and we'll need to rename them so that it will be easier for us to animate it later on. So let's do that. First, I'm going to click on this layer. I'm going to click on enter, and I'm going to rename that mouth. And I'm going to do the same thing for the other layers. So I'm going to speed this up. One thing that I notice here is that there are some empty layers. So as you can see here, when I click on this layer, the only thing that gets selected is this little dot here. The reason why this happens is because sometimes if you separate layers in Adobe Illustrator, let me actually show you. For example, if you separate this group, and you move all these layers outside of the group is an empty layer. So when you import it into After Effects, there are a couple of empty layers. And what you can do would be to simply make sure your background is locked and select the bottom left corner of the screen and just delete. So as you can see, now all the layers that I have are the ones that I'll be actually using. So I'm gonna go back and continue my renaming. Okay, great. So now we have all these layers named, everything looks good, and we will start preparing for animation before we start the actual animation. I'm gonna zoom in my timeline, and the first thing that I'm noticing is that this composition is 40 seconds. This is just too long. This animation that I showed you was about 5 seconds. So I'm clicking Control K, and here I will just change the duration. I am going to make it 10 seconds. I think 10 seconds is good. And then I can adjust it later on, just so I can have some room to play with it if I need to. Okay, now the next thing would be, and this is something that I always do when I start each and every one of my animations, I select all these layers by clicking Control A, and I click on this little sun icon here. This is the continuous rasterization, and what this does is it helps with zooms. So if you have zooms, for example, as you can see here, the quality is still really high, and if I didn't have this option clicked here, look what will happen when you zoom in. We won't have any zooms in this animation, honestly, but it's still good to have this as a habit, to just select everything and click on this icon and make sure each and every layer has this icon if it's a vector file. Although we will be creating some shapes, but we will do that in a second. First, let's do some parenting and some pre-compositions. First, let's pre-compose, yes, the nose. I just see that my head will be messing around with my selection. So I'm gonna click on head and I'm gonna lock this layer. Next, I'm gonna select every layer and the nose, and I'm just gonna hide and hide. Okay, great. So perfect. These are all the layers related to the nose. Right click, pre-compose, name that nose. Amazing. Next, I would like to pre-compose the eyes. So notice that here, this eye is closed. We would need to duplicate this eye first, and then we'll make him blink, but we'll do that later on. For now, just select all the layers for the closed eye, the pupil, and the eye. So the eyes will be on a pre-composition, right click, pre-compose, and I'm gonna name this eyes. Amazing. And again, click on this icon here. Now, I would like to create some shape objects. I would like to create a shape object for the ears and also for the head. Let me explain what a shape object is. As you can see, this is a layer that I have from Adobe Illustrator that I imported, right? So I have a bunch of properties here. If I click on transform, I can change the position of this ear. I can change the scale of this ear. I can change also the rotation and the opacity of this layer. But what happens if I want to change the shape of this object? For example, the way, like this is how it looks now. What if I want this ear to be straight and then go down? Well, in this case, I would need to have a shape. So I can be not only changing position, rotation, scale, and opacity, but also the shape. That's why I would need to create a shape object. So let me select the ear, the back ear, and the head. It's locked, so let's unlock it. Right click, create shapes from vector layer. Okay, now delete these layers here. And okay, this is great. The next thing that I'm going to do would be to do some parenting. First, let me create a new object, layer, new object, and I'm going to parent everything like that would be the new object for the face. So I will parent the nose, the eyes, and actually just the nose and the eyes. I'm gonna parent them to the new. I'm gonna rename that by clicking enter, and I'm gonna name that face new, and the face new will be connected to the head. So the ear, head, and back ear will be parented to the head. This is how you parent a layer. And the back head would be parented to the head. So the front part of the head, obviously. All right, I just noticed one more thing. I would like this layer, the back ear, to be below the back head, because I think that will be creating some problems for me later on. Okay, now I have this composition ready. It's time to start the actual animation. We will start this animation by animating the head first. So the head is our base, from where we will see how to animate the rest of the things. So first, let's see what we will be animating. I'm going to open up transform, and I will add the keyframe for position and scale, and also here contents group 1. I'm going to delete this group because that was like, it's an empty group basically. And I'm going to add a keyframe for the path. Now let me click U so I can see all the keyframes, select all of them, and click F9. Now this is the end position. So this is where this animation would end. Therefore, these keyframes that we have would be actually the last keyframes that we'll have. This animation would take about, I would say, 1 second, 6 frames. So move these keyframes here. Now let's create the first position. So these will be the master poses, and then from there, it will be way easier for us to add more keyframes to make this animation smoother. However, one thing that I noticed is that I didn't change the anchor point. So if, for example, I want to scale this character now, it scales from the center. And I would like it to actually scale from this dot here, because there will be a little bounce, you'll see. Make sure your marker is where these keyframes are. Otherwise, if you're changing the anchor point here, you'll be adding a keyframe for position, and we don't want that. So make sure your marker is here. Click U and change the anchor point here. If you have the anchor point mover, you can just simply click on this arrow here and you will be ready. Great. Now let me go at the start of my composition and let's see what we will do. First of all, I want this character to move from the bottom of the screen. We will create a mask later on. Let me scale it like this. We might need to adjust that later. And I will add a keyframe for the path. For now, I won't be really changing the path. Now, if we go to about 14 frames, copy and paste the last keyframe. So that way you have a reference. Now I want this character to go up. So he'll go up before he goes down. Now go to about 25 frames, copy and paste the last keyframes. Now let's make some adjustments to the scale and the path. So I will go here to the 14 seconds mark approximately, and let's make this character just change the scale a bit. Great. Now here, if he drops down, scale him down like this. So this is the squash and stretch effect, like the Disney principle. So let's go back and see how this looks. Okay, amazing. Great. I really like it, although I feel like this part at the start is a bit slow. I'm gonna click on position and I'm gonna open the speed graph. This is how the speed graph looks. We'll make just a few simple adjustments. I'm gonna click on this dot and hold shift and move these two dots. Let's see how. Okay, I will do the same thing for this movement over here. So okay, so basically what we do here is to have him start slow, fast, slow again, and then slow, fast here, slow again. So this creates a very smooth motion that I really like. And I would actually open up the scale as well and make some adjustments here too, and just smooth these keyframes. Unfortunately, there isn't really like a formula or something that I can share here for the value in the speed graph. This is the speed graph. So it's more like a rule of thumb. At least I don't know, like a formula or something that I can tell you to make this easier for you. It's just trying and see what works, what doesn't, and adjusting from there. Great. I will close the graph now and I'll go here and I would like to make some adjustments to the path. Remember that we had keyframes for the path too. So I will just click G or the pen tool, click on this dot, and I'm actually double click on it, and I will slightly change the shape of this layer. That might be too much, we'll see in a second. Great, so now here again, let's change the shape a little bit, but just a bit. Go to extremes. Okay, great. So if I isolate this layer now, this is how it looks. Do you see this portion stretch? Like doof, 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 doof. This creates a very cool cartoon effect. Great. We will adjust these keyframes and offset them a little bit, but we will do that later. First, let's adjust the ears. Okay, let's open up the ears. And we have 3 groups here. I think there will be something that needs to be deleted. Yeah, group 1 from group 3 will be deleted. Now, add a keyframe for the path options everywhere. And change the anchor point by clicking Y. This time I won't forget to do that. Click R, add a keyframe for the rotation and for the position. Click U, F9 to ease them. Now, again, this is the last position of the ear. And so these keyframes should be here. Great. Now at the start, I would first change the rotation. I would like it to be like this and the path like this. Great. Let's add a keyframe for everything else. Now, when it goes up like this, change rotation to 0. And now click G and let's make some adjustments to this path. So as I mentioned, now we would like to change the shape of this ear. So I'm going to play with these dots and basically I am going to just draw a new ear that's more kind of straight up. And you can play with this until you are happy with the way it looks. Okay. Okay, this is how my ear looks now. Let me see it. Okay, great. Okay, I think this looks good. The only thing that bugs me here is this line over here. So do you see how, so this is the line that kind of separates this part from this part. And I would like this part to appear later on. And so that's why, let me see what will be the path. Okay, so this is the path, that's the second path. So I'm gonna copy this keyframe and add it to the start as well. Okay, now we will need to add another keyframe. So this is when the ear goes down and we have this little bounce. Again, let's copy and paste the keyframes from the end, rotate this ear a little bit, and again, just make some adjustments to the shape of the ear. So let me see how this looks. Okay, again, I have the same problem with this line, so I'm going to copy and paste this one. Okay, and look, this line over here, that is actually here, I want it to appear just super fast. The minute that this ear goes down, I want it to be like, yes, exactly what I wanted. So, okay, great. Amazing. Now let's just make some adjustments to this ear. I think it's just, it looks a bit weird that way. Alrighty. Great. Okay, amazing. Great. Let's go very quickly. Let's go frame by frame. Okay, so here, for example, it looks a bit weird. Let's just adjust it like that. All right. Play it one more time. Amazing. Great. Great. Now we will animate the back ear, and I'm going to follow the same exact process here. Okay, I think this looks good. Now let's animate the head. So I'm going to click on P, add a keyframe for the position and for the rotation. Now the head animation would actually start somewhere here in the middle. I think like around 7 frames would be enough. Now here, where all my keyframes are, I want it to go up and I want it to rotate as well. Okay, like this. Great. Now here, this is a 25th frame. Copy and paste the first keyframe and just make it go down slightly. Change the rotation to 8. Yes, I think 8 is okay. And now at the end here, copy and paste the first keyframes. Let me see how this looks now. Okay, amazing. Great. Great, guys. The next thing that I'm going to do would be to animate the face. So remember that we had a null for the face. Click P and easy ease this keyframe. Now here, make him look up. Here, make him look down. And here, copy and paste the first keyframe. Let's see how this looks now. Amazing. Now I think it's time to offset some of these keyframes. Now let me play this for you. As you can see now, we have a few positions, right? He's down, he goes up, he goes down, and he looks normal. Now this looks a bit robotic because like in real life, you can't actually have this motion. So the parts of the face and also, for example, the ears, most of the time they don't move in, like they don't move together. And so that's why I would like to have this cartoon effect by offsetting some of these keyframes. First, I will offset the scale of the head a little bit, like 2 frames, I would say. So in the second frame, that should be the second frame. Next, the path. So same here, but just this time, I'm just gonna offset it with one frame. Next would be the head. So all these keyframes of the head would be moved again 2 frames after, and I will change the rotation of both ears and just them 2 frames. So let's see how this looks now. Okay. Okay, now let's just grab the whole back ear and move it 3 frames after that. So let's see how this looks. Okay, great. So do you see how now it just looks way more smooth and way more cartoony, and there are things moving and everything looks very, very nice. I will just finally, I'll just adjust the keyframes for the face and make them start 4 frames after. Let's see how this looks. Amazing. Okay, I think this is good. And last thing, just the rotation, 1 frame. The rotation of the head, just 1 frame. Amazing. Okay, now it's time to animate the eyes. I'm going to open up this pre-composition of the eyes, and first let's make some adjustments here. First of all, this pupil that you see here goes outside of the eye, which looks weird. So that's why I will mask it inside the eye. I'm gonna click on the eye, Control D to duplicate it, bring it above the pupil, and if you don't see these options, click on Toggle Switches, Modes, and automate the pupil to the eye, just like that. Now, we have this eye that's the closed eye. However, he will be blinking later on in the animation. For now, we want this eye to be opened and not closed. So I will just hold Control and Shift and select everything from here to here, and Control D to duplicate it. Now, let me bring them up here, and I'm just gonna change these layers to be red, and I will, actually, let me unhide so I can see where this should be. Okay, so I think it should be around here. Great. And I just think that I will need to scale this, but just make sure this mask is parented to this layer and this one to this layer. Now, this eye, I want to scale it a bit. Okay, and let me see if it goes outside of the eye. Nope. Okay, I think this is good. I'm gonna hide these and let me make sure this eye looks good. Okay, yes, it does. Amazing. Now, here's what we are gonna do. We will have him blinking. So do you see how in the original animation, boom? So here he blinks. First he looks down, up, and he blinks here. Okay, let's do that. First, and I will use these layers to create the blinking animation. I'm going to select all them, right click, pre-compose them, and I'm gonna name that blink. Great. Click on the little sun icon. And now let's create 2 masks. I want to have the bottom part of the eyelid and the upper part of the eyelid. So click on the blink, pen tool, and now let's just create a little mask that's kind of in the middle of this, like should be like this. Great. Now duplicate this layer, Control D, and something you can do would be to click M and just invert the mask. That's just way easier. Now we have this blinking animation. All right, so now let's mask this blinking animation to the eyes. So that will be the mask that we had for the pupil. Control D to duplicate it, bring it above, automate it. Same thing here, duplicate it, bring it above, automate it. Amazing. Now just select all these and let's change their color to yellow. Control D to duplicate them, bring them here, change the color to pink, and move them. Move them here. Okay, the mask is not working properly. Bear with me, we'll fix that in a second. This is because we will need to parent this mask, duplicate it, bring it here, and delete this one. Now, duplicate this one again, bring it above, delete this one. And yes, let's just move this right here. Amazing. Let's just change again these layers to pink. Great. So when will this character be blinking? Let's see. So we will have him looking up here and he'll start blinking here. Okay, so I'm gonna make sure my marker is here. Click on eyes and now select all these blink precompositions. P, add a keyframe for the position EZ, move these here, and now all the back, let me see, all the eyelids. So these eyelids would go down. So these eyelids would go down. These two will go up. So he'll be boom, blinking here. Okay, let's make that faster. Boom, boom, great. Let me go back and let me see when he will. Okay, so he will be blinking. Oof. And I think at around here, 1 second, 3 frames, he will open his eyes. So I'm copying and pasting the first keyframes. So let's see how this looks now. Just the blinking. Great. Amazing. Doom. Doom. Let's now change the pupils. I would like him, at this time, I would like his pupils to look down. P. Add 2 keyframes, ease them. Now at this time, I want him to look like this. Let me select them both. He's so silly. That's what I like about this animation. He's just silly. Okay, now he looks up here. So let's select these 2 pupils. Move them here. Actually, that might need to be faster. And let's move them here. Okay. And now remember that he blinks. So we will change the position of his pupils when he blinks. And I want him to look. Let's see. Oh, he's so silly. He will be looking right. Like this. Okay. Let's see how it looks now. Great. And the last thing that I'm going to do would be to make him blink. So I would go to about the 2 seconds mark. I will copy, and so he'll blink with this eye. So I'm going to copy these positions. So this is the position that they're at now. I'm going to add another keyframe. I'm going to make this eyelid go down. And I am going to make this pupil. Actually, let's make him look at us here. So just add 2 keyframes for the pupils. Change them so he'll look at us. And then he'll blink at us. So it'll be that. Doof, doof. Okay? Okay, this is cute. Let me see how this looks. Okay, let's just change the position of this eye because it's too black right now. This one. Yes, okay. Boom, boom. Okay, great. So let's see what we just created. Okay, great. The last thing that I'm going to do would be to add some keyframes for the head. So just select add keyframes here. And I think at around this time, oh, we need to add a rotation too. So add rotation keyframe. Rotate him like that. Make him go up slightly and scale him up a bit. Then copy and paste the first keyframes. Let's see how this looks. Okay, I just need to add a few more keyframes here in the middle. Up. And like this. Okay, let's see how this looks. Great. Okay, amazing. Let's just move these a little bit here. Okay, amazing, guys. The final thing I promise that we are gonna do today would be to just find this character in our composition, remove the background because we want to be creating a little mask. We will see in a second. This is my composition. I'm gonna drag and drop it here so I can create a new one. Now let me actually go back and copy the background. Yes, I am gonna bring it down here. Now let me add a little shadow. So I'm just gonna be creating an ellipse like this. Yes, change the anchor point and make the opacity 57, just, or actually it can be 30. Change the fill color to be a darker blue like this, and just create a rectangular shape and make sure it's kind of like this. Yeah, kind of in the middle. Next, just alpha invert this bunny character to this new layer, and this is what we have now. Ooh. All right. So this is the animation that we created today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. You can find the project files in the description below as always. And if you have any questions or something you want to ask me, feel free to shoot a comment. It's getting late and dark outside, so I'm gonna go. I hope you have a lovely day and I'm gonna see you very soon.